Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I see something I don't, on the agendas I left down here?
Can I have one, Mike?
Absolutely.
Hey, you want one?
Here you go, sir. Mayor, Mr. Honorable Mayor.
No.
No, I'm good.
What is this?
Are the mics on? No.
You might have to flip the bottom, I don't know. Did they have a cord?
No. Do I have a button?
Yeah, mine's off.
Want to turn them on?
I'm on.
You're on. Should be on there.
Yeah, the bottom, you might have to flip the bottom.
Hello? Does it sound like it's working?
No,
Give me the other.
it's not.
It's red.
Here you
It's
go.
a red button.
Okay.
Get off the title.
Turn it down? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Caucus.
Here.
Mrs. Pasio.
Here.
Mr. Ranieri is absent.
Yes, excused.
So Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Mr.
Mr. Root's en route. He just said he's on Clemens Ridge Road.
And this is Mr. Long.
Here.
Mr. Bayshore.
Here.
And Mr. DeWilliam.
Here.
Okay, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 3rd, 2018. And two, emailed to the retrospect and curb post on January 3rd, 2018. What do we have here first? Request authorization for the proper official to sign the shared service agreement for $25,000 for Round 18 Recreation Facility Enhancement Funding. This is the money for the girls softball field. This is to put the removable fence and other fence work. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion is passed. I'll sign that afterwards. Public hearing, we can't do this without a fourth person, or can we do public hearing? We can do the public hearing.
The reallocation of the funds.
You're good.
I'm good? All right, public hearing, resolution of CDBG funds for year 39. This portion of the meeting is open to the public, anyone wishing to speak about this issue, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Farrell, second by Ms. Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, public portion is closed. So for everyone, just to understand, the CDBG funds,
Is that for the girls softball?
no, CDB funds are the county, we're reallocating money from roads to help pay for the parking lot. Or vice versa?
Remember
Say it
that.
again.
From the parking lot.
What's the matter, we need another lane?
To the building.
I know, I was stuck in it too.
Did you get that? So the funds are coming from the parking lot, CDBG funds, to the elevator.
It's on the resolution.
Is it on the resolution? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
18116.
Okay, so yeah, $23,000 is being moved from the parking lot to the building. This is the grant funding we got from the lottery. Okay, so why don't we just get into that? Resolution 18116 is a resolution authorizing the Borough of Runnemede to adopt a revised agreement for year 39 CDBG funds. This is moving the $23,000. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Ms. Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly. Yes. Mrs. Pasio.
Yes.
And Mr. Root.
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 absent.
The resolution is adopted. The record shows that Mr. Root is here. So we do have 4 members. Okay, resolution 18117 is a resolution affirming the Borough of Runnemede's civil rights policy. This is the ADA requirements, Conscientious Employee Protection Act. I guess we're just, do you know why this is on here again? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
This is a requirement from the Mel.
Okay.
To post this and
Okay.
to approve this resolution every year. It's in our handbook,
Okay,
our new handbook that's going to be adopted.
great. All right, so let's get this done then. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make
that motion.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion, Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Patio. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly? Yes. Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 absent.
And the resolution is adopted. Resolution 18-118 is a resolution accepting the low quote for curb installations on Clemens Bridge Road adjacent to Deluxe. This is the agreement we have with the Deluxe Bakery for the borough to put the curbs in while the Deluxe puts sidewalks and interior curbs and stripes their parking lot as was required by the planning board. So the low quote came in at $29,200. I do have one question. You know, I'm gonna run this thing. I noticed on the quote that there was traffic security and safety. If it's a borough job, why would we force the contractor to pay the police directly? Why wouldn't we pay the police?
We do not need police unless they close a lane down.
Okay,
It can be done without closing a lane down.
so if they don't use that, do we save that money?
No, we said
Up to,
we're not paying, the borough is not gonna pay for the police, so
what was the $4,400 for?
it's just for them to install traffic cones and stuff like that.
Okay, those kinds of
They
things.
have to do like a lane shift, and as long as they maintain 2 lanes of traffic with proper tapers and whatnot,
Okay.
and to manual and uniform traffic control devices, we don't need a police officer sitting there.
But if we needed an
If
officer,
they opt to close a lane down,
oh, that's it.
then it's on them, and they have to get a police officer out there to
Okay.
pay for them directly. But the quote was for them to install the signage and
Okay.
cones and things like that.
So traffic safety didn't necessarily mean, because what I thought, Bill, was I thought that if we needed officers, we would have our guys and we would pay our. Okay, so everyone understand that then?
Yeah.
Okay, motion. A motion by Mr. Root,
I'll second that motion.
motion second by Mrs. Patio. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly? Yes. Mrs. Passios?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Root?
Yes.
All right, the resolution is adopted. Do I have to sign a contract for that, or is that,
We can.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no, we
I
should.
just want to get it started, I think, you know, because we kind of do a lot.
I will notify K Concrete and get contracts out to them tomorrow.
Beautiful. Okay. Resolution 18-119 is a resolution authorizing emergency appropriation of funds. This is the pictures that Mr. Farrow was handing out was the pipe that broke on North Reed? On North Reed, and I think it looks great. There was like a 15-inch pipe broke, and the culvert was falling into the stream. So I think the original estimate that the borough engineer came up with was between $150,000 and $250,000 to do the work, and I think it looks great. It almost looks like a little park down there. So what we have is, we have up to $95,000, is that correct? Up to? It's a $95,000 emergency appropriation. So if anyone would like to make a motion to authorize this funding?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Root, second by Ms. Passio. Any other discussion?
I'm sorry, who was that, Root?
Root and Passio.
Mid.
And so this money, so we'll make this up at the beginning of next year.
Yes, it'll be a deferred charge, special emergency that will be made up in next year's budget.
Okay.
I looked into different ways to handle it, and we talked about like a note, or
Yeah.
anything like that, but we'd still have to raise that into next year anyway, but we'd have to pay interest along with that. So this is our best.
It's cleanest to do it this way. Yeah, the only thing this brings everyone's attention again is the sinkholes caused by sewer pipes and stormwater pipes. We need to have some money to fix this stuff. So again, we're gonna have to, in the next 2 months, we're gonna have to make a final decision on our sewer connection fees, our sewer fees. And then the one thing I was gonna ask the administrator tonight was if he could talk to the auditor, our auditor, about if we could call our sewer utility, our sewer and stormwater utility. You see what I'm trying to do?
The name?
Well, the idea is that this is an example where we need money to fix our stormwater pipes. This is the third one that's broken. So we've had 3 broken in 1 year. Is that right?
2 years.
Three, bro-
4 in 2 years.
4 and 2
4
years.
and 3.
4 and 2 years. And so I think this is an issue we've got to address. So maybe if we, if we start putting $25,000 or $30,000 a year off to the side, and every year.
Well, how easy is it to change the name?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking. See, right now it's a sewer utility.
Yeah, no.
So we can only use the money for sewer issues. The question is, how do we pay for stormwater? There's still pipes underground, they're still collapsing, and we are responsible to move the stormwater.
Is there grants for that?
No? No. Basically what there's,
I mean, the best thing,
Sustainability?
I mean, if you're looking at the major improvements, you could do infrastructure trust funding.
but you're borrowing the
So
money.
you're borrowing money
Yeah.
at a low interest rate.
Yeah. So kind of like how we did the sewer lines.
Oh, this.
Same thing, we borrow money and we do it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is more of an operating expense, where every year we go out and we fix the, the inlet on Pine, or is it Oak? There's an inlet on Oak that needs to be replaced, like Linda Hurd's house.
Oak.
Yeah, it's Oak, right? There's an inlet falling apart,
22 of them.
there's 22 of them.
So
Well,
we
certainly
need
there's
the
a
money
need
to-
then for
Yeah.
us to fund that kind of expense.
Yeah, but my point is as opposed to, we're only capped at raising taxes 2%, this is kind of like a dedicated money. So if we, let's say, if we tell everybody in town, hey, we're putting $1 a month per house towards stormwater, hopefully everyone would accept $1 a month or $2 a month towards stormwater. Because I've gotten nice calls from Mr. Carwack, he has said that the water, right, the stormwater is working very well on Orchard. So that's been a positive. We've had positive, even on Reed, we're gonna get positive. This water's flowing on Reed.
Absolutely.
Where it would flood Reed and wash over, so I think it's a positive thing.
So Jim's gonna look into that, how we can change the name and allocate funds.
Yes,
You're going.
some things that we can do are literally called assessments for a utility fund.
Okay.
Okay.
There's sidewalk assessments, there's different things that we can do where, what the mayor said, where it's portioned off to each resident in that area that may be apportioned that assessment. So I'll talk to Mike tomorrow and find out if we can intermingle our sewer utility with stormwater. I'm not sure,
Me neither.
but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, good.
So the assessment is the whole town.
The road storm sewer on it.
The entire
What do
town.
other towns do?
Storm
The other
sewer.
towns must have this problem.
Everyone is starting to figure it out. Everything's about 100 years old.
That's the sewer.
So we're all running
It's
into.
affecting everybody.
Yes.
We're born in the wrong time.
All right, so we had, I'm sorry, because I think I hijacked that a little bit. It was a motion by Root, second by Passio. Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly,
Yes.
That would be great.
Mrs. Pasio,
Yes.
Mr. Root,
Yes.
and Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Four ayes, 2 absent.
All right, the resolution is adopted. All right, we have first reading on ordinance 1813. This is an ordinance amending bond ordinance 18-08 of the Borough of Runnemede in the County of Camden. This is reappropriating some funds. This is not the public hearing, right? This is first reading. Okay. Would someone like to make a,
I'll
just
make a
describe it?
motion. I'll make a motion to adopt on first reading and advertise according to law with a public hearing to be held on the 27th day of November, 2018, at a meeting beginning at 6 p.m.
Sounds good.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Passio. Any other discussion? This is just some reallocation of funding, is that correct?
Yep, $74,000 from the road program to the building.
Okay, beautiful.
For improvements that was a result of the CDBG funding.
Because they gave us money, we reimbursed ourselves. So we have a motion and a second, roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly,
Yes.
Mrs. Pasio.
Yes.
Mr. Root,
Yes.
and Mr. Fowler,
Yes.
and that should not be there now.
Okay? So we'll have a public hearing next month. All right, what is next? All right, that's all the business. Okay, new business discussion for this meeting, discussion of resolution refunding solar panel fees. I think this is the typical where someone pays for a permit. Joyce, is that correct? And then they withdraw?
Yes, and then something happens and they don't get it.
Okay. So we just refund their application. Discussion of resolution to accept the performance bond for Lambert Construction. Which property was that? Is that Washington?
It's probably for the road program.
It's a road program. Washington, you think, or?
No, Reed, Schisler.
Oh, it's that one?
Oh, that.
Oh, the performance. I'm sorry. Discussion of new policy manual. Mr. Dior, want to give everybody a little update?
I had an opportunity to discuss with the mill and to go through their model handbook, policies and procedures for a small municipality. And I compared it with, thanks, Harry, you know, I love that.
It's got to be
And I
recorded.
compared it with our existing handbook policy manual. You know, there were some things that were included comparatively in both of them, but there were some things because of the age of the old handbook policy to new laws, new procedures, new liability laws that have been upgraded. So I sent you all a PDF version of the handbook, and at this point, I hope you've all read it and
I
have
did.
some suggestions as far as anything that I may have missed or something that we can elaborate on better. But I would like to put an ordinance on the agenda for our council meeting on Wednesday, I believe. if it's
First
possible,
reading?
For the first reading.
Yeah, I'm okay with first reading. I mean, there were a few tweaks.
I know you said that there were a few tweaks, but we can get together and go over that. I have no problem, but it's a starting point.
Yeah.
It's a starting point. Really, a handbook should be adjusted every year. It should be, there's additions, sometimes subtractions, there's some changes that should be looked at every year and brought to council once a year with a new ordinance to approve the employee handbook. Once it's approved, it will be distributed electronically. People will be required that they received it, and anything in that handbook will be.
And to acknowledge that they received it.
Right.
So that- Yeah, I mean, I did read it. I mean, the only thing I saw was there's some, because I guess it was a format from the insurance company. So there was a couple of small things that I saw, like, you know, you were filling in the blanks
Yeah.
on certain things. And I think there was one or two small items that I had remembered from previous or, you know, but the way I look at it, I agree 100%. If we get started on it, if we miss something, we can always add.
Right, we can refine it.
You know, the bigger issue is the non-contractual employees, kind of putting that as clearly as possible for the non-contractuals.
Yeah.
And then, I believe also when we're discussing even the non-contractuals, it helps us when we're in contract negotiations, because I hope it kind of says this is the direction that the borough's sort of going. You know, yeah, we give people health insurance, we give people vacation time, so it kind of says all that and says what's a little bit about expectations. One of the things I liked the best about the handbook was the,
Evaluation.
yes, you knew exactly what I was going to
I told
say.
them about that, remember? I
Yes.
emailed you, I said, I love that part.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
I mean, the only issue that it always comes up though is that it's our responsibility to make sure management does its responsibility.
Right.
So that it
It's
keeps,
in the handbook, so.
you know, we don't, yeah, it's in the handbook,
That
but,
doesn't mean
Now,
it's starting today.
Starting in
Yeah.
2019, I'm going to put a directive around to all the department heads that they're going to be mandated to do performance evaluations on their employees. That goes for every employee, police department, fire department, everyone.
Members of council?
The fire
You would
department.
evaluate us, right? Wouldn't you?
and I get evaluated by the
No,
people.
I don't think.
Come election time.
But the handbook pretty much covers all employees, full-time, part-time, any volunteers,
Oh, it did say
anybody
that.
who represents our borough, with the exception of any collective bargaining agreements that we have. If a collective bargaining agreement does not address a certain situation that's in the handbook takes control of that matter.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of new things, there's a lot of forms.
They were
At the end of the
great. I love the
handbook,
forms.
we're going to implement all. So
They were great.
we're going to start using everything from race notice forms, new Oprah requests.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
So,
Great.
And then the other, the time and attendance policy, is that in that?
that's one of the things that you gave me.
Okay, there was some.
Suggestions for, but I did try to write that paragraph with an eye towards having the time and attendance.
And obviously, payroll is still one of our big issues. We're right on the edge now.
We have a very important meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, sending out,
Beth has been working.
yeah, Beth, electronic, you know how we get the stubs? Hopefully by January, we're not sending out the electronic stubs anymore. That'll save us 115 stubs every 2 weeks.
We're hoping we're hoping sooner than
Oh, that's even better. So that's one thing, to do that, and then obviously,
There's always roadblocks, you know, when you're dealing with other companies and depending on other organizations to give us information, you try to set a timeline, like we've been trying to set a timeline all along, but it's always been progressing, and you've all been very patient, and I appreciate it, and it'll be worth it.
because Edmonds was the sulfur side, and then the time and attendance is another.
Yeah, we had to deal with not getting the right information, not being told what to do, correct, you know, just a bunch of different things that, you know, we handle, but it takes time.
We're trying to get away from paper.
And something that has to do with payment and people's salaries and everything like that, we want to make sure when we do roll it out, that it's pretty much, it's done.
Good. Discussion of ordinance regarding background checks. I am not familiar with this one.
Background checks were part of the handbook
Okay?
and one of the forms at the back. And evidently, I believe each borough or municipality needs to have an ordinance pertaining to background checks. And that's why I wanted to bring it up with Dan. if
So you think it's separate from the
that.
policy book? Is it separate, or is it?
I believe most municipalities have an ordinance.
Correct.
Talking about, I don't.
That we authorize?
Yes.
I don't
background
think we
checks.
do. I don't think we do.
So, most do it because it's more formalized and it's just an easier way to do it. And remember, you're adopting your policy books by ordinance anyway.
So we can either integrate it into it or do it separately?
I think do it separately is the way to go, just because it's a standalone, stronger kind of thing, rather than, hey, it's gonna be one part of
Okay.
a larger book. So I think the formalizing with just that is the better action for it.
Do we have a copy of what we want to do first reading next
Yeah.
month?
I put it, of the ordinance, no, we
Yeah.
don't have a copy of it.
No,
But.
Is it a cookie cutter, like it's very, very plain language? That borough authorizes background checks?
This way, and then I can type in my shared file for background check ordinances.
And it's right there. Okay, so want to do first reading on that, Joyce?
I sent you a copy of the handbook.
Yes, you did.
So if you wouldn't mind, I know, just try to go through it,
Yeah.
just try to,
Was the ordinance at the very end?
and the forms are at the end.
Yeah.
Perfect, okay.
Also, the background form is at the end, and also our employment application is at the end also. Would you mind taking a look at that and maybe making sure that labor law wise, everything is there? It's from the mill, so I believe it might be, but there's one thing that I found out with the whole, with a public work situation, that there needs to be a question on there regarding
Commercial driver's license?
yeah, commercial
CDL?
driver's license, yes. So if we can talk about that later, that would be,
Most certainly.
that would be great.
Let's put it this way, I'm very confident in the Bell's attorney, but it doesn't hurt to have an extra.
Yeah, you, I'm confident in you.
Thank you,
Okay?
Good hug.
Okay, so that'll be a separate ordinance then. So we'll have
So we'll
first
have two
reading,
ordinances.
yeah, first reading of the policy manual.
I'm ready to go right next week.
Okay, and then it's a separate standalone background check ordinance.
And I did get a sample of the ordinance for acceptance of the handbook.
Right.
So I'll do that. I can review it.
Perfect.
Okay. Great. Discussion of resolution regarding purchase of sodium chloride from the county. It's pretty standard of us every year, correct?
Yep.
So we'll do that at the next meeting. Discussion of municipal alliance resolution for the funding. Is this just us outlining what we're doing for the
Yeah.
year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Discussion of public hearing to be held on ordinance 1810, 11, and 12. What are 1810, 11, and 12?
Here are your zoning, your two zoning ordinances
Ah.
plus the marriage license fee.
Okay.
They're
So is
all
this the
for
public hearing?
No,
Yes.
public hearing next week.
Yeah, so we changed a couple fees. We raised the garage heights.
And the signs.
And then the sign heights. Now, the engineer has made it clear to me that he's, of course, nervous that I'm moving forward, not you, the other one, moving forward quickly without at least keeping him aware, because under the planning board side of all this, they had made recommendations, and that's what some of these are, but all the recommendations have to be done by council. So even though the planning board says, do this, raise the garage height, change the fences, do all this stuff, they don't have the power to change the ordinances. So I think what Mr. Bach,
Who's their legal counsel?
well, no, I think in-house, they've kind of drafted some,
Model ordinances to adopt.
Okay.
their land use ordinance, not, a little different. They talk about fence heights.
And they're, but they didn't have a counsel do that. They just did it themselves.
You do it in-house.
Right, that's part of our review of the, all your.
The overall.
That's part of our master plan review that you guys did.
Review that we were looking at.
So the young lady, I forget her name, who did the master plan
It
review,
was Leah at the time.
but there was another young
Now
lady.
now Candace is.
So Candace, I think, has everything written down. So we're kind of jumping ahead of Candace, but hopefully in November and December's meetings. But remember, we can't bring anything new into December, so, right? We have to be done by December, we can't carry anything over to a new year. So anything we need to get done has to be done before
You stop existing.
in December. Okay. So hopefully we'll discuss that again and see if we get things done. If we don't get it done this year, we just do it at the beginning of January. We'll start the process of cleaning some of that stuff.
At the reorg, maybe? Can we do it at the reorg?
Yeah, you know, do back-to-back meetings.
Yes, absolutely, like we did last year, it worked out great.
Well, I was thinking about adding a third meeting every
Oh.
month. Okay, so 10, 11, 12. So that's pretty easy. If you want, we can get payment of bills out of the way, and then we can go around the table. You want to do that? Is there a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
second that motion.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Ms. Pacio. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Pacio?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Four yes.
Right, the bill should be paid. You know, I got yelled at, I was at I'm on the Belmar redevelopment committee, it's just a representative from the borough. It's me and the mayor from Deptford. And so, you know, not that, I like to talk, but I also like the meetings to move ahead. So I was the one who made motions for everything. And you know I got yelled at for making the motions for everything because they thought that I had an opinion of it. I was just moving it along.
So,
That doesn't mean that.
It's not procedurally, you nothing, you just bring it up for discussion.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it
You're not
means.
making a vote on it, it doesn't mean that.
All I did was make a motion, and the man from Deptford made a second, and then it went out for a vote. Medina, real nice guy, real nice guy. I get yelled at for making motions, but that's
Oh, boy.
I get yelled at. Okay, let's go around the table.
That's an odd thing.
It's the norm.
Well, there's questions about the redevelopment, so that's fine. How do we go to Ms. Pacio first? Want to talk about what's going on?
Oh, sure. Tonight's Mischief Night, everyone.
Oh, nice.
Curfew is at 9 PM, so get yourself inside and get ready for tomorrow night, which is Halloween. And don't forget, our borough party is at 6 o'clock. It starts. We will have pizza and refreshments and other things, and a costume party, music, and it's 6 to 8 at the field house.
Very good.
And with that,
I think I was
She
heard.
projects. Okay.
so with that, I move on.
Okay, Ms. Kelly?
I will defer to my council report because I have all my
You
reports at
reported
that
that?
time.
That's great. Anything from the police department?
Sergeant Burns will be at the Harry Williams
Yes,
Building
the
tomorrow
judge.
with Officer Grassi, and we have 4 guys out tonight for tonight, everything's great.
Where should people
Oh,
call?
they doing
if their house
fire-
gets towed, maybe?
911.
911.
We will be
Is it
there.
like control tonight too?
No, no, wait,
just
sorry, we have-
It's a little dark.
I put an extra box.
So you got that number?
Got that? Write that down. Could you repeat that?
Not
We'll go to council, Mr. Farrow, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, we had our ribbon cutting yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a ribbon cutting yesterday, and a county committee came down, Public Works, Police, firemen. Patty, you did a great job with the food.
Thank you.
And Deluxe did a great job with the cake.
I'm sure there's onions
Thanks
left
to
over.
Bill. You're gonna make a nice salad.
Go on, Mike.
He forgot the mayo.
Okay, we had an engineer meeting yesterday with the mayor and Harry and Mark, and discussing things that haven't been done, that we're still waiting to get done, little things that fall between the cracks. And hopefully we'll start working on them, and let me see what else.
Traffic study?
I did traffic study on the way here.
It's tough, huh?
Yeah.
You want to talk about this foreman idea?
Yes, thank you. I wrote something down through Craig, is the lead guy on this. He
You can
told
pass
us.
it around to council.
And I wrote something up, and Jim typed it out, and I'll read it for you. Dear Ms. Oakley, please consider this letter as an official request for the Borough of Camden County to
I
investigate
have documents on that at the end, I need them all.
traffic study concerning the regarding the traffic flow and the traffic lights on the corner of Clement Ridge Road and Blackhurst Pike. At this time, we request alternating red and green lights, green turning lights, as well as left turning lanes at the intersection for traffic traveling north and south on Clement Ridge Road. Currently, the traffic light is green for drivers traveling both north and south, causing drivers to turn either cautiously, causing a backup, or dangerously accelerating, hoping to clear oncoming traffic. The intersection has quite a bit of traffic, which increases the chance of occurrence of, I can never say that word. Thank you. Accidents and injuries to drivers and pedestrians alike. Thank you in advance for your cooperation and attention to this matter. We look forward to hearing back from you. So that was nice, and thank you.
Can I have one question on that?
I just, if you guys have any suggestions, especially you, Mark, did you get a copy of it? Oh.
The only suggestion I
You want
have,
stuff back.
do we have any data on any accidents at that?
But we need,
We should come up with that.
yeah.
see what I'm saying?
We
There
should
was-
include that with that. Yeah.
Oh, you can say your opinion.
It would be nice.
Well, there was someone that was unfortunately killed on that.
Or a
intersection.
A little bit down.
But, yeah,
It
it's,
still me,
they
it's
come
all the
down
people
and-
coming around.
when you come down from the police station to make a left over the Pike, you know, when there's people like this, and people are guessing when they want to make a left, it's
But I mean, do you recall of any accidents in the past 12 months on that intersection?
nothing out of the ordinary, but I can look it up.
I mean, that might help, I don't know.
Yeah.
If there aren't any, we don't say that, but we can
No.
say.
Yeah, I didn't put any number, it was very vague.
It is,
so-
yeah.
And it will help, grab their attention. If they ask for it, we'll give them.
Now, was this anything additional to then like help you offset our cost of the, would she be the one who would help us offset the cost of this study and stuff like that?
Yes, she'd be the one
She
who'd
is
be
the-
yes.
responsible for that. I talked to Chris today,
Okay.
and he was very nice, and,
He was
I don't know, he was
from
very supportive.
the Assembly, the State
Yeah.
Assembly,
Mhm.
or State Senator's
Yep.
office?
Yep. I figured I'd give him a call and introduce myself, because when we have these functions and all the political people are here, the mayor always says he's going to introduce me, but he never does because he gets all, just wanted to put that on the record. I feel a little something.
It is true, I forget to introduce him.
So they asked you to take the tour,
So
to
I
lead
called,
the tour yesterday.
I did.
Oh, you led the tour?
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
led, Harry led
Yeah.
the tour. Harry led the tour. I just.
And Harry.
I just went. So.
Group effort.
And Harry said,
Did you
come
make
on,
everybody
Jim.
go out on the
Know that they're very happy and impressed with seeing the fire escape.
The fire escape?
Yeah.
It's impressive, the
They
fire
were
escape.
surprised at that being part of the whole thing, and, you know, the expenditures, not just the elevator, but also the fire escape,
And the safety
meet the
center.
regulations,
Yeah.
so.
We told them a little bit about the planning, what we're planning on doing, maybe moving some offices on up, some plans next year, maybe with our storage and how we keep our records, different things like that.
Well, it does look like we need more storage for, you know,
Well, we're gonna come up
all
with
those
a plan.
boxes.
We're gonna come up with a plan that hopefully we can implement it for the next year's budget.
Great. Very good. Anything else?
Yeah, striping on Davis and
Ninth.
Ninth, looks great, yeah, that was something that was a long time coming. And, progress.
Did you see it striping?
Oh, and storm drain, if we had a problem, I'll let Harry or Mark talk about that.
Okay. Mr. Root?
Yeah, everything's good, it's fall, the leaves, and since Harry's here, I'll let him speak.
The leaves.
First order of business is for next week for the council meeting. Hopefully we can have, depending on the approval from the chief of police, the new hire of the janitor, possibly for that to be on the agenda. And I have a part-time bus driver, previous employee,
Mhm.
that on his days off, he.
Who was that?
I met him at the Walmart.
Nicky Ritz.
Oh, yeah?
He still has his license, and with
It's
his,
fine.
with his
Yeah.
fire schedule, he could do that, so I do believe I'm
He's got
still.
the A, right? He's got the endorsement? or-
He's got the
Yeah.
endorsement for bus.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah,
that,
we
it
wondered
won't,
a lot.
it won't cover all the days that if Sylvia takes off, but at least it would give us a full to pull from. And we've been looking for a part-timer to help out with us, and at least, I mean, that will help us out where.
Did you say that was indefinite, or, I mean?
No, he's
As
on
long- as long as you guys are okay for
Yeah.
approval for Tuesday night, okay, Joy?
And his salary would be the same as Sylvia, is that what the idea is?
Yes.
Or would-
Yeah, it's part-time, it'd be under.
Just hourly and
Yep.
then, okay.
Yes.
I think that's a great idea.
So I'll move forward and get the paperwork processed and have it all approved from the clerk.
So do you have any other employees in your, right now that have that extra endorsement of the
No.
guys that are there now? Really?
That's all towns have a problem with it.
Yeah.
It's all,
It's a
it's
problem.
all over the school
I
buses,
receive calls all the
New
time,
Jersey
having to
Transit,
spare bus drivers.
everybody.
Really?
So-
Some nice police officers haven't gotten an endorsement.
So with that, okay, we're busy. Moving on, yes, it's fall, this weather's been kind of off, we've had a couple of colds, now we're coming back up to, Thursday, the high 74 again. Leaves just aren't dropping, but when they do, it's going to be all at once. We're prepared for it. So, I mean, we've been taking care of town, putting up signs, doing the normal stuff, getting ready. Actually, in the next couple of weeks, we're starting to pull out the Christmas decorations to get them prepared, because in 3 weeks, that will be going on. So,
With the leaf
amazingly,
blowing this year, they go and still Gloucester Township?
yes.
And we also have to permit if we want to store them at the public works facility, or we're not going to do that. 1 year we stored them, do you remember that, Mike, where we stored them? I don't know if that's functional. We got a permit 1 year
Yeah.
to store leaves.
We don't, right now, that permit's not active, so, I mean, we'll be going closer.
You're just going to take it to
Yeah.
Gloucester Township?
It's just as easy to.
Instead of dumping and then
Yeah, it's too much time consuming and so forth like that, moving around.
moving them twice.
So with that, we did have the emergency on Reed Avenue. It's been going well. The fee is a little up there, but we're going to be able to handle it for such a magnitude of the storm itself. System, this was a large one with 15-inch plus a 36-inch pipe. Worked well with Caucus Associates on getting it taken care of. Great contractor out there, keeping it.
And this will last for how long?
My grandchildren's grandchildren.
100 years, over 100 years?
Oh, well.
Well over 100 years.
Well,
We'll come back and call
yeah, well worth it.
So it wasn't a patch, it's a complete fix.
It's a complete repair with it that's permanent and not a patch for us to go back into it.
And this has been on Mr. Buck's, your list, and Mr. Basher's list since 2004, correct? So we got it done.
So it's done. So with that, it's going well, and we should be complete by Thursday out of there for the pending storm coming in this weekend again.
Any thoughts of erosion at all, or how steep was that? I mean, after the picture, it's hard to tell.
We're addressing erosion. We'll have erosion stop on it with some sediment control put on it and some more riprap to control it and so forth, and then we'll have seed and to soak it. I mean, we might be doing a little bit of maintenance, how it works, as it gets it reestablished.
Because that fence was removed, it looks like. Is that, the chain link was removed the whole length, or only on the one side?
Just on the one side.
Can we find out who owns that chain link fence?
The property owner split it,
They did split.
yes.
Because one of the things Harry and I talked about was, the borough right now sort of maintains that area a little bit, but now that it's cleaned up, it might change things a little bit. But one of the things we talked about was there was a fence on the one side which kept people from falling that 50 feet in. The other side is not quite as steep. But we talked about putting maybe something a little more decorative, but also to keep people from going in there. But it's one of those areas where it's really not borough property, but it's kind of borough responsibility. So the only thing I was thinking is the chain link is not as aesthetically pleasing as something a little bit nicer.
We will
And
address
keep
it,
cars from going down into that gully.
we will address it budgetarily, and we'll come up with something aesthetically pleasing.
He is listening.
He is listening.
I do listen.
Because even though we don't own the property, we have an easement, correct?
Yes,
And we're responsible for that water, even though the property owners both made it clear that their property lines splits the center of the street. But we still have this, what was the word you guys use when we don't necessarily have a written easement, but it's actually perfunctory or prescription? That was the good word. Prescription, we have an easement. Yeah, because we have another problem with a pipe that someone built a shed over, is that what I heard? So even though we don't have it in writing, we still, another shed.
Another one, or
Wow.
another care of that?
This is another one,
Oh,
another one.
wow.
So,
This one's not gonna fall into the,
no, there's no creek behind it, there's just a pipe.
So with that progress on everything, we're, taking care of business.
I have a question. Do you remember when the seniors and the women's club were paying for a woman to clean the bathrooms?
Yeah, don't tell me we never paid her.
No, no. Didn't we hire somebody to do that?
That's the gentleman we're talking about, but he hasn't been cleared by, because he's gonna be able to come into the borough when it's closed. We wanted to do a background check, and I think we're waiting on the state
So
police.
there isn't anybody?
He's coming up.
That's
He's-
him.
That's him.
I just thought we were
Can I ask you a question?
continuing.
Sure you can.
How long
Yeah,
does it
you
need-
did.
We can continue.
We used to have a
Well, I
while.
don't know, but somebody would have.
She just did the senior
It's
bathroom.
been-
We were getting hollered at because how dirty it was.
Who did them?
3 weeks.
Oh,
Mrs.
no,
Kelly
but
was
yes, the
hollered.
president, she was.
I'll be here first thing in the morning, and I'll see if I can make some phone.
Yeah, but nobody's cleaned them.
Isn't Mike?
Do you hear the
All I
question?
know is that they
Yeah.
should
Keep the
Yeah,
woman
and you were supposed to get that money
before the
back.
seniors.
We were hiring
First
somebody.
thing.
You think your gentleman will be able to take care of
The
it?
bathrooms.
That's what it's all about.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking.
You hear it? I mean, I think she did a decent job, right?
Who was that?
The woman who was coming in?
Yeah, and the seniors were paying, and the women's club were paying her on, I guess they told her to stop. I don't know, because it doesn't look like they've been cleaned
Okay.
at all.
Well, hopefully we'll get this guy hired before the next meeting.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
The next senior meeting, I'm talking
Yeah.
about, or the next women's club meeting.
Mhm.
Or the election, remember the election, it gets dirty after the election too.
Yeah.
And then, did we ever decide where that municipal alliance function was gonna happen?
Yes, both schools.
Yes.
Oh, the
They
school?
said yesterday,
That's
I
great.
got an
It's a
email.
great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, was there anything else, Mr.
No,
Wilson?
progress.
Progress. We'll leave the engineer for last time, or Mr. Dior? Because I know what the lawyer's gonna say.
I'm ready. A little curveball.
Oh, we,
Yeah, okay. Let me get my list.
it's recycled paper.
Yeah. So we're making progress with health benefits, retiree health benefits, different things like that. We're making really good progress with that.
Did you get my email with the dividend we were getting? Did you see that?
Yes, yes.
What dividend was that from?
That's from the JIF.
The JET,
That's the smaller one of the two. The larger one is from the PIP.
the big one.
So,
This one was about $30,000.
yeah, Greg and I are working with the auditors to see how we're going to record that this year. Historically, it's been taken in as revenue. I have experience as taken as a reimbursement to the
Which
appropriation.
lowers the,
Which lowers our cap. So it allows us to appropriate money in other areas without it affecting the cap. Our revenues go down, but the change to the amount to be raised by taxation doesn't change. It's a wash. So it just has effects on the appropriation cap, but in a positive way. But I want to make sure with our auditors.
Can we give it to council?
Now you brought it up again.
Barrington Shared Services, I wonder if there's any progress on that, Mayor?
say it again?
The Barrington Shared Services, any progress?
It's, they keep sending us updated ones. I think what we need to do next month is basically only share our fire code official, and that's it. And allow them to pay for their own until they come back with a more formal plan for something.
Did you articulate to them, is there anything
No.
that I can do to help?
You could talk to Ms. Shannon, but I think she's going to punt to the
Well,
elected
George has
officials.
a relationship with.
I think she's going to punt.
Okay, so we're still waiting to figure that out.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry, I was trying to do something.
Let's see, the CBA negotiations for police are progressing. We're going to meet again in November at some point. We're waiting for the representative from the GWU to contact us regarding DPW and the clerical union. I'm going to be starting on the best practices inventory. Every year, the state of New Jersey gives us a number of questions have been all over the place the past several years. It's gone from 70 questions
They know,
to
I want to
20.
read every single one of them.
We're not going to do that this year because there's like 60 of them, but it's due November 12th.
Well, we have to do it at the council meeting, right?
Yeah, it needs to be approved. They give you some wiggle room,
Okay.
based on your timing of your council.
Did you do our score yet? Where are we with our score?
I haven't even started it yet, but it just.
We were very
just-
high last year. We were very
Okay.
high.
Yeah, usually there's no problems, and it gives us an opportunity to see where we stand as far as best practices go and to improve. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'll be giving you updates on that. We had a meeting with the crossing guards today. It was a positive meeting. Chief Daly talked to them, and I was there. Dan Murray was there. Bill even made an appearance, and they were told that we're going to ask them to stand at the post going forward, and that was it. So
Did they get a copy of the mill requirements?
they have a copy of everything. Everything has been disseminated and passed on and talked about.
And any-
we're at a good point. Okay?
And they understand. They understand what this says.
They do.
They do?
Yeah, the chief spelled it out.
Okay.
They do that.
Do you have a copy of this? Or you're not, of course you are. It's what the mill requires.
Not Sergeant Harry's in charge of that. He has that problem. And with the chief.
That's the thing.
Okay? Security cameras are contingent on when that ordinance is passed.
Okay.
Distributing the funds, Joyce has been kind enough to start looking around for carpeting for the building. And I think there's some other things that we want to look into doing to improve the building. There's a Union Avenue gas main litigation that I became aware of last week. And we were talking to Dan a little bit about it, but
It's got nothing to do with us, right?
yeah, it has to do with us.
Oh, you're talking about the breaking of the pipe?
So I brought it up, right, because we're looking for information. So if anybody has any information.
You already have the photos, right? Because I have it. I saw the photos.
What kind of information?
Well, we were,
Well, here's.
I'm sorry to put, I just thought it would be good to show.
Sure, I'm not putting on this one at all. I even made a call to the big guy in Florida to see if I and checked my office for files, and we don't have anything. So
This is in regards to,
South Jersey Gas.
yeah, we called 1-800-DIG, but we still hit the gas line because we supposedly dug outside the parameters of the 1-800-DIG. So how much are they asking for?
I don't have the papers in front of me, but are we saying that it's possible that we did damage?
Well, we know we done
They,
it.
they,
We did
they
that.
found it, they found it at fault.
So maybe at,
But we paid a fee.
I thought we did too.
we paid a fee
I thought
to,
we negotiated it down.
That's what I thought too. I think you're
Yeah.
right. Hey Joyce, do you remember a resolution to pay something to fix that pipe? I think you might remember that too.
I think I remember doing the ordinance too. or-
So fixing up sewer line, we're digging between a curb and a sidewalk.
who would we have paid that?
They're saying we got 30 of them.
That's it.
Well, that might have been the negotiated
Raise
price.
the
Maybe we
fees
never
for,
paid. I thought it was
street repairs for public work utilities to get that money.
Well, you might have agreed to pay it based on my knowledge. You may have agreed to
I
pay it.
didn't pay it.
do
But
we
it may
agree
not
at a
have been
meeting
paid.
here?
Oh, well then we should look into that.
So we are. I looked in the system. I didn't see any.
Let's pay them the 3,800. I would have thought we did a resolution.
The 3,800 sounds like the negotiated price.
I think you're right.
remember it was close to 10 or something.
And maybe here's what happened, when we had the part-time CFO, it didn't, the check didn't get
Dan,
ready.
can you contact them
Do we
and
make a
see what
letter?
their side and see
You don't
what's
have a
going on?
resolution.
Sure, I'll do it in a way.
And check-
You don't think so?
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
You looked it up?
Just
to say you're fine,
just for my record.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I don't
Even remember?
I remember exactly what you're saying. We came in a meeting, we settled it, and we offered them certain amounts.
Did we discuss
Thank
it?
But they're only asking for 3,800.
Yeah, it might have been resolved. It might have been resolved. Randy's gonna call
Okay.
and find out, and maybe they're just waiting for it.
Yeah, because I think we admitted that we dug outside the parameters of the 1-800-D, and we hit the line. It was pretty obvious, there was a line, and we dug on the other side of it.
So,
So honest.
we talked about,
There was no thin line.
The great.
Don't admit anything?
Yeah.
The great
Denial?
area was, we were gonna dig in a 4x10 box. We called in for a mark out 75 feet from everywhere from the.
Well, that was the other one, yes.
And it was on, and it was never marked 2 feet from where we were digging, and we hit it, and that was the whole.
And how long ago was
But I think it went to, I think we pushed back, you are
Did we
right. I
discuss it?
think we pushed back.
I really don't know.
Originally, we pushed back, and I think that's where the settlement came from.
Video.
And they said, look, cover our costs, and I think that wasn't terrible.
all right, we'll find out. So we talked about the janitor, we talked a little bit about the softball grant. The one thing that I want to know what to do with, I sent an email out. We're accumulating these plastic bags in the police department, and it's becoming an eyesore. So it's not that people are just bringing them. They're bringing them here, and we really don't have anything to do with them.
Sorry, Clean Communities Coordinator?
That, I think the program is,
Recycling coordinator?
because of all the recycling and the different laws and I think the program has.
People want to recycle these plastic bags. What can we
But
do?
why are they bringing them to us?
Because
Because we
we
need to
initiated it.
Right.
We initiated it through a program with
Acme.
No,
Wasn't
Trex, no,
Trex.
no, Trex.
Trex offered us something if we.
500 pounds.
So what we did is we
Yeah.
put up receptacles at Harry Williams and at the police station.
We put up 5, we put them all over.
And then then it fell apart.
No, we
did.
collected.
Harry continued.
No, the original, okay.
The original fell apart, we reactivated it, and you can only do it 6 months at a time to receive a bench. So with that, we did the 6 months, we have to collect 500 pounds, we collected 582 pounds.
Nice.
Okay, in 4 months.
Where's our bench?
We
It's
have
sitting
one.
in Public Works, it's lovely.
We do have a
Okay.
bench.
We do
So
have a
I
bench.
think.
And
How big is 580 pounds of bag?
Go into the police department.
three pickup trucks filled with trash bags filled.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And with that,
So our town has done we're very productive,
Well, so
and
we-
I thank everyone for doing that.
But unlike Trex, we keep
Or-
going.
We
so
can- we can
with
do
that, it was deferred until
Seniors are loving it.
October. We had a green team meeting, which we didn't have a full quorum to have the meeting with our volunteers. So that was tabled to our next meeting for discussion, the bag program. But in the meantime, as I talked at several of these meetings, the bags hurt us at the recycling facility, causing backups and everything else. So we've been collecting the bags and disposing of them,
Really?
okay? Yes.
So we're not recycling.
They're not recyclable to the fact of,
Getting us a bench.
no, recyclable.
To our
is
single stream.
Into single stream.
So it doesn't go to single stream.
No.
It costs us.
We had to send it somewhere else.
Yes.
Where's the place that we can send it to? Do we know, is there a place?
We have found through a hard problem of getting rid of the bags, we can only take a little bit at a time through ShopRite, Target, Walmart.
Where do they send it?
They send them back to their plants, which wind up in a dumpster.
Oh,
So
it's just a
it's
circle.
costing us.
We could ban plastic bags in the borough of Runnemede.
That's why
Yeah.
the other towns are doing that.
Yeah.
also. And just so you know, the county is doing inspections of recycling trucks as they're being dumped. They've been doing inspections the last 3 weeks as the loads.
To not allow those plastic bags. to be
Well,
used.
all to see the
Right.
contamination coming in the single stream. So they haven't banged anybody to where they rejected the loads, but I know they're taking a lot of pictures to give out a report.
Well, we have a sewer bill going out, we can communicate and say we no longer recycle plastic bags and that we want
Well,
support to not
people
use them.
always, I think people do know that we don't recycle plastic bags. That's why when we offered this program,
It was wonderful.
it was wonderful.
I
And
had
they
no
were.
idea they weren't recyclable. I put them in
And-
recycle.
We gotta read this, we gotta put the stickers on our
Yeah.
cans.
And, I mean, it wasn't just the plastic bags, it was, the water, the wrappings from the water, it was the cereal, the bags inside the cereal, so it was
The
it
bottle
was.
caps of your sodas and your.
We're
water
separate.
bottles are
So-
not
You're supposed to
recyclable.
take them off and throw them away.
People were being compliant, they
Just
were
to switch them and
doing.
throw them away. Okay, so let's say something. The police department, you still have bags in your lobby?
You didn't get, the public works is supposed to.
I think they told,
Yeah.
our problem was, when the chief's problem was, there was no problem with that, it's just a better
What it
container,
fills.
so
But
it's.
you're missing the point. We can't even recycle them.
Okay.
So we need to have them thrown away. We need a campaign to tell people that they need to stop using plastic bags and throw them away.
And throw, not to bring them here.
Yeah, so here's what we can do.
Receptacle out of the police
Being in
line.
the sign business, I know a little bit. You know how we have the little sign, we have a little stand and says, do not drop it off. You're gonna have to tell your personnel.
Look, it took us a while to get people to do
And we
this.
gotta, well, we're gonna have to make, we have to educate them to stop.
So now we have to re-educate them
To
and
stop.
tell them to stop.
So they bring them to the Harry Williams?
So,
So we have the Facebook page.
So they'll put them in
We
the
have the
trash.
website, and you have your mailing.
Yeah.
The point is, that I'm trying to
done.
get through, is that it costs a lot of resources for the town, and we did a great job, and we initiated it.
We got our bench.
Now recycling is going a different direction, and we're gonna do the stickers, it's just going a different direction. So I just would like Bill to be able to take those bags, throw them away.
Well, he doesn't even know if they're there, still there.
I mean, I
Are they-
haven't looked at that.
Are they there?
I don't know.
I can look on the way out.
May have picked them up, but.
Yeah.
either
No, we need
way-
to communicate to stop bringing them here.
Yeah, that's.
I have one suggestion. Where's this bench at?
At the front door of Public Works.
Okay, let's take a picture of it and say that we achieved our goal, that we recycled 580 pounds, we got our free bench, but the program has been canceled. And we won our bench, but it's been canceled, and please, at this point, do not use
A lot of
plastic
it
bags
comes
as much
from
as you can, but they must go in the,
seniors, so-
but we have to stop them.
They have to go in the trash.
And let's put them in the trash. My wife's one of those people who saves bags all over the place, so I'm going home and throwing them away. And then we even have a little,
I love the bags, I put my recycling in them, then I go outside, then I put it in my recycling bin.
but you're not supposed to, did you hear what he said? You're not allowed to put them in your recycling.
No, I don't put the plastic bags, I empty what I put.
Oh, you use them as a trash?
Yeah.
Just something still
They need to
bad.
have a class for those Walmart to teach me.
Okay, so-
You might wanna,
Communicate that.
yes.
So you're saying, we want our bench,
Yes.
please take them back to Acme,
I'll
shop
tell you,
right
the container at Acme is overflowing.
That's
But they
it.
have no place to bring them.
Yeah,
They're
Acme,
throwing them
Acme was
away.
our original drop-off, but then they wouldn't take.
Well, I don't think that little Runnemede should ban plastic bags.
So it's
We don't need to
just
make the news for that,
terrible.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what about
Yeah,
running
China.
dolphins and all that stuff?
Runnemede dolphins.
So,
In the creek.
in the lake. So, we talked a little bit about the dividends, and we're working on figuring out how, we've got a lot.
Now, you're interested in the HIF dividend you're talking about. You're not talking about this little boat dividend.
Both dividends.
Okay.
Well, and another, I would like to organize another meeting with the mayor and code enforcement, construction code official. There are some open complaints we looked at a little while ago, and I'd like to get those resolved. So, at another meeting with you, anybody else?
Yeah, we need a member of council, we talked about this, and it either should fall under engineering or public works. Somebody has to be on, at construction.
I would like to be on that because actually I ran into a couple business owners that I'd like to take care of something with that.
Who'd like?
Well, two of you could be on it because you're on the engineering committee, but what I'm saying is, one of the things we haven't done is court and construction needs to fall underneath some member
Well,
of council.
the court comes on.
Well, the court could fall on you, it's a lot though, court, police, EMS, you know what I mean?
Crossing guards.
So I think we have to figure that one out,
She
but,
can handle it.
and usually police and court should be two separate things, correct?
Oh,
Yeah, police and court should be separate.
have to be separate.
So maybe it falls under, I don't know, public events and courts, who knows, or engineering and courts. You know, public works and construction, or engineering and construction.
That's what it used to be.
It was engineering and construction, so we could go back to that a little bit. So, but if you two guys want to show up to this, then three of us,
I want to organize the meeting.
Yep.
I'll look for your emails. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll start talking about that. The last thing, we already talked about, one thing I want to ask is about the trash bin. We're getting closer to the end of the year, and I think you mentioned something to me about any negotiations you were having.
the trash, yes. So,
I think that evened out. We were gonna give them what they wanted.
well, it modified slightly. I think our attitude was a one-year contract was really tough on us. Because a one-year contract means we would need to possibly go out for public bid again. You remember that process? And have Waste Management Republic or something like that. Belmar, one of the reasons they felt that they were less inclined to stay in the trash business was they wanted to replace a truck. So it's sort of a little bit strange. What they want to do is they want to actually utilize our contribution to help offset some of their cost of buying additional equipment. So I think the original proposal they gave us was for $203,000 to pick up our trash. These are rough numbers. So say 203, which I think we could work because if you look at our previous numbers, I think we were paying Waste Management like 230 their last year, 6 years ago. So we're still lower than what we were with Waste Management 6 or 7 years
It
ago.
was a 4.8% increase.
Yeah,
So
so,
why, we're not gonna give it to them?
no. So now, when we kind of pushed back at this meeting and said this was such a short term, they came back with a proposal with Mounting Firm to say, we'll sign a 5-year agreement.
Oh, I
But
like
the
that.
5-year agreement will include a $7,000 or $8,000 bump, which would be more than, but he said this would be more than the 4.5% increase, because it would offset the cost for them to go buy another truck. And we don't actually own 20% of that other truck. The truck works 5 days a week, so it is only in Runnemede 1 day a week. So our contribution would be 20% of the truck over the 5 years. My math, I mean, Jim still has to verify, my math is it's still cheaper than us using Waste Management, based on Waste Management's original bid from 2000. And how long have we been using
Well,
that?
why don't we get a bid?
We don't
Why don't
know.
we get a bid from them?
Because it's tough.
Just for,
I already put out to Bob Law, I never heard back to ask him to start the bid process. Did you hear that from him?
He said he was going to start the bid process and then the information down, but that's all.
You know, the bid is,
Start that
I
out.
mean, you might want to know what Waste Management would cost.
Okay.
And then just
let me just
see
say
what-
something about that. I would be completely against that. And I'll tell you
Not
why.
even putting out a-
Not even putting out the bid.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you.
Well, then you're working in the dark.
No, I'm not. I don't work in the dark. I know that when we were with Waste Management, that they were not emptying the trucks every time before they came to the borough, because let's be honest, Public Works wasn't checking the trucks every day. What was supposed to happen was, they were supposed to arrive down at the Public Works building, we were supposed to
That
look.
was before.
Oh, they're more honest now. So what happened, Eleanor, these are facts.
We can hold it.
Well, Mrs.
All right.
Kelly, when did you
Well,
ever
now
see
we
a
have a
corporation go down?
superintendent.
What was that?
When do you think a corporation price is going to go down?
We're still less than what we were with them.
So 6 years.
6 years
It
ago.
went down, with recycling going up. the
They were
tax
charging us
rates going up.
$230 a year. We're still less than what we
All I'm
would be.
saying is, how do you know what Waste Management?
Well, let me just
would
tell you.
charge? That's all I'm asking.
And let me say a few more things. So A, the pickup has been better. B,
Oh, yeah.
our tipping fees have been lower because Belmar is more honest with us. C, the shared service with our neighbors is bigger than just dollars and cents.
I'm
If we go into bed with a private industry, you know,
I'm not, all I'm saying is.
and we're
that-
using our own truck.
Here's what I'm saying.
We bought a truck for $200,000.
You're telling me that we're saving a lot of money.
Yes.
I'd like to know how much we're saving. That's
All right. There was a report, I'll make sure you get it. One day, who showed up here with that report? That showed how much money we
I
saved.
think that's a good thing to know.
We saved over $300,000 with this shared service.
Well, that's wonderful, and that's a good thing to know. I didn't know that.
It was at the meeting, does anybody remember that? Mr. Lomenstein brought it, because he was part of that meeting. Yeah, if you see the savings in the tipping fees, and now this was only based on Waste Management's contract from 6 years ago. So we can assume that they would have gone up at least 2% a year. Would you agree? Trash is going up a lot, maybe more than that, 2%. So I think what Belmar did to show us it was part of their proposal. Do you have it with you?
No, but they did a projection.
They did a projection.
2% increase of where they believe that Waste Management would be. And compare their numbers, they do come in lower. At that time, we said it might not be a bad idea to do that. I think we all agreed.
What was that?
At that time, to put it out to bid.
No, the only reason we wanted to put it out for bid was Harry showed up at a meeting one day and said, Belmar said that they might not be picking up our trash. You guys need to go out and get a bid.
Right.
I went over to the elected officials and said, this was a marriage. This was a marriage. You guys are walking out of this marriage. We went and bought a $200,000 trash truck.
Don't we give them people too?
We don't give them people, but we offered it.
Oh.
We did offer a driver to offset the cost, which, once again, that's the beauty of the shared service.
Right.
If they're down a CDL driver, Harry's already offered one of our
Are
CDL
we
drivers.
beating a dead horse?
Yes, we are. You brought it up.
Yes, we are beating a dead horse, but you
You're
won't
beating
shut
me.
up about it. You're convinced me.
Okay, so Mayor, would you mind, since you had the last conversation with them, to get the document so we can look at it and?
I think that they owe us a contract for us to review.
Yes.
They owe us a contract for us to review the 5 years, to review what their costs are, to review all that stuff, and
Then we can talk.
absolutely. And I agree that the contract should also help us out if we provide our own truck.
Absolutely.
if
And
we provide
maybe
our
a
own truck.
driver, and
Yes.
maybe a driver.
Waste management would never let us do that.
Oh, no.
Is there anything I could do to help facilitate?
Make the phone call, send me.
Okay.
Yeah, all you have to do is ask for the contract. You know,
Now, this has to be done before the end of the year. That's the problem.
it's not gonna be a big deal because remember, they're in a very similar situation to us. If they pull out of this agreement with us, they have a hole in their budget of $200,000, which I know would mean layoffs, right? Where are they gonna come up with $200,000? So when Woodland pulled out of Collingswood doing their policing, they laid off officers. When
Yeah.
Audubon Park pulled out of Audubon. So to me, a shared service, I dislike the ease to get out of them. But at the same time, I agree, we have to protect our financial interests and our service. Does anybody have any complaints about their service?
No, everybody
Mike?
has said they're very positive, very positive.
No? Joyce?
Nope, very positive.
So there's a positive. I think it looks good when our truck drives around and picks it up. You know, I think Waste Management, they proved that it wasn't the best scenario for us because
Well, they were.
it was real easy to find out. As soon as they stopped picking up our trash, our tipping fees decreased. How is that possible? How all of a sudden did they pick up more trash when Waste Management was picking up?
They were hitting
in Belleville?
dumpsters on the way here.
Problem.
Yeah,
Or not emptying the truck the night before because it takes
Right.
time to drive and dump
right.
and come back. I'm telling you, that was, I mean, that's facts, you can go look at that. You know, is it cost a little more money? In the long run, what I would argue is the service is another factor. When a resident gets missed, Joyce can attest to this, sometimes they go out and pick that trash up for that person when they miss it. Even if we know that the resident wasn't really truthful, they forgot to put their can.
They have a guy, Steve, I think his name is?
Yeah.
That goes out and tries to rectify whatever the problem is.
Yeah. So even though it might cost us a little more money, I think that we have to, you know, we have to think that there's a value in the service.
Oh,
that we get,
absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
I'm not against privatization, but in a lot of times, I think that motivation for making a profit sometimes is negative.
One thing I do not want to go back to is picking up our own trash. I do not want to go back to.
I don't think there's anybody here who wants to go buy 3 more trash trucks and hire 6 more
That
guys.
I do not want to go back to.
Or more than 6 guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just.
So I'll call Joe and I will try to procure the agreement so we can discuss it.
And if I'm
And you
here,
think-
we don't have to deal with it for
What if it
5
goes
years.
past, Jim, what if it goes past the end of the year? Are we still okay?
I'm sure our contract says that it can just,
I have to check the contract. I wasn't involved in that negotiation, but
Eleanor, he's the same as us. He doesn't want to lose that
We'll be
revenue.
fine.
We write him a check every month.
we'll be good. We have a good relationship with them. They're not going to hurt us, so we're all right. That's why I brought it up. I wanted to make sure that we get this done by the end of the year. I don't have anything else except for one thing. Today, we sold a van. We refinanced our 2017 van. It's just a rollover.
How much?
We received a interest of 2.38, something like that.
Not bad.
Pretty equivalent. We got 3 bids. That's good.
Who won?
For Runnemede. First Community Bank. It's the first community.
First
They're local.
Colonial.
First Colonial.
They're
How much
local.
would he get?
They bought our last one too. So
I think he wants our business.
Yeah.
He does, but from what I understand, he doesn't have the room under his insurance cap to allow us.
He's
to
only
do it.
allowed so much money, I
But
think.
there's some other advantages to have a
Jerry.
local bank. So it worked out. So it really did. So now we have our claim going. So this is till July. And in July, we're going to go to permanent financing with this ban because the 3 years is over before we have to start doing
Principal
principal.
interest, yeah.
So at that point, we have some options. So we just accomplished the first part of our plan. So I just wanted to let everybody know that happened.
The other thing there's only one mistake I recall us making with this in the previous year. If you remember, guys, we had a loan kind of end and another one start, and we ended up having to make a double payment one year. Do you guys remember that? And that hurt us. So as long as I just want to make sure that happened to us one time, it kind of, can you understand what happened? We were paying one loan off, and then started paying another one. So in 1 year, we had a little bump up in our payment. And I think that was kind of, we weren't on top of it. And I'm not saying you're not gonna be on top of it, I just want to remind you that was one thing that hurt us one year, where, because it didn't smooth out as nicely, does anybody remember that?
No, I
No?
don't.
Remember that, Joyce?
Nope.
Thank you.
It's possible to have two, it's a
Sorry
ban.
about that.
It's possible to have two bands outstanding that have different maturity dates, that you have to pay 2 interest payments.
Yes, it was something like that.
All right, but we tried to align our notes so that.
You don't have that.
So thinking ahead,
Yes, and
ahead.
that's what you're saying, you want to smooth it all out. And if you, the reason I remember it so vividly is because, you know how I always try to keep taxes down. I remember that we had a higher payment one year, and if you guys, all you have to do is read your budget document, and you'll see the payments in the budget document, and you'll see that it dropped. And I knew that we had an extra $300,000 or $400,000 because we had a lower payment, because we had a heavier payment the one year, so.
We're gonna be, we lost one of our bonds.
Fell off.
2015 fell off, but we're going to get a new bond in
That's great.
July for
Perfect.
this,
So the blend.
refinancing this band that we just did because of the maturity.
And this is what Acacia does.
So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna see if we have a capital plan for next year, depending on how the budget goes, and we can coordinate everything all into the one long-term financing.
Roll it all in.
That's good. That's
So in
not
July,
wrong.
we have to prep for July. So by then, we'll have more data, more information to make an informed decision.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a question to go back to something we spoke about, the shared service with Barrington
Yeah.
for instruction. If they wanted all this to begin November 1st, and so I need to know, where do we stand? What are we supposed to have agreed to with them?
You know, they're asking us, they want to, they're cherry picking the agreement, which is fine, it's their prerogative. They want to hire someone to take over their construction, they want to maintain the fire and plumbing with us. You know, we could approve it for just 2 months, and then in January, renegotiate a longer-term deal.
But
But I thought you said what we were gonna do was the construction official.
That's all I want to do.
Oh.
What Joyce is pointing out is, they want us to do our fire official and our plumber,
plumber as of
starting November 1.
November 1, which is
And-
a few days from now.
It's a few days from now, and
I don't think we should, because it's just a matter of, we're just they want to be on their own now, they want to do their own.
well, partially.
Partially, they still want the one part from us with Keith.
With fire.
And that's fine, because there's just,
They want
I don't even
plumbing
want to
too.
do that, but since there's a situation around with Keith, that, we want to do him right, that's fine. But we also have administrative charges, we talked about
Yeah.
that, the $375.
Were they told
So-
that?
No,
Right, so we have to,
Is this like a secret, or
No.
what's the story?
I have a full-time job, so it's hard for me to
is there
constantly.
Do you
anything?
want me to tell
Is there
Terry
anything-
that?
Is
That
there
this is
anything that
what,
we can do to?
Yes.
Part-timer.
what can we do to?
All right, you want to do something, we tell them that we can continue the fire inspector for a year, and at a $375 administrative fee, but the plumbing, we don't do the plumbing anymore. Let's be clear, so everyone understands. All we're really doing is sharing an employee, and they're compensating us for that shared employee. But there's only one of them, like 2 of them right now, or 1.5. It's like, why have a shared service for one? Not that I'm against shared service, I'm okay with
It's
it.
been going down.
It's
since-
been going small. They're restructuring their department, and they want to maybe work with us in the future, but there's I'm not against it, but all we're really doing for them at this point is, the fire inspector is the only one who 5 days a week goes between both towns. The plumbing inspector, I don't believe he's 5 days a week going between both towns.
It's always a mystery.
It's a
as
little
to
bit of a
what they
mystery.
work.
They should just.
Plumbing,
they should
electrical, I
pay-
can't tell you that.
They should control what he does, you know? It's fair to them as.
You want to tell, do you understand what I'm saying, guys? I mean,
I think you should just reboot the whole thing and say November 1st ain't gonna happen because they're just dragging their feet. They're not, no contracts are coming out, and they don't wanna agree to stuff. Like you said, they're cherry picking the,
well, it wasn't, I thought we were going to kick the can down until January, until they did it, but it looks like they sent over another agreement for November 1st.
There's only one part of the agreement, there's 2 parts. There was no administrative fee discussed in the
And why
agreement.
keep the
And the
plumber?
plumbing inspector was still in it.
Plumber, so.
Well,
I
how
have
about
no
this?
I have no problem calling them and saying that that's not a good agreement and this is.
Well,
what
Dan, do you think it's okay if council authorizes to sign an agreement, amend the agreement with these caveats? And if Barrington agrees to it, then I can sign the agreement before November 1st?
I talked to Barry first.
Oh.
I would get it, yeah.
But then we missed the deadline.
No,
We can always do a retro.
We could always do a retro, one, and two, I don't know if you wanna, how that would be received, so I would just make sure you're on the same page with that before we take any action.
Okay.
Do you want to call?
Yeah, call him because, and if he calls me, I'm gonna stand, you understand, I thought we were kicking the can for 2 months. Then all of a sudden, we got a letter saying, let's continue with these 2 employees. The fire, I understand that works for us. He's here, he goes back and forth, and that's exactly what shared service is. The plumbing, I don't believe it's what I consider a shared service going back and forth. So they should just pay the guy, who cares? He works for us, he works for them, he gets 2 paychecks. Yeah, if you want to do it and just get it with Terry, I can't see how they can say no. That's a very benign.
What's the percentage of the?
It's a 5% to write the checks.
5% of what we're paying?
Yeah, whenever we're writing a check out, we get 5%. And the reason Jim says this, guys, is because they charge us 5% to administer their
Yeah, I
gas
would
fees.
tell them that, yeah.
Understand?
$375 a year.
$375. Whenever we go to gas, they basically say,
Yeah,
hey, for
yeah.
them to purchase the gas, fill the
Right.
gas up.
Right.
Speaking of that, too, well, are we done with that? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
So we'll kick the can for you to say, don't do anything tonight, Dan, right? Okay, you okay? So I had 2 things just to jump on it before we get to the engineer. Painting of the building, you forgot to report on that.
The contractor called me today. He had a couple delays with last week, and I'm waiting for him to have his preset foreman show up, hopefully tomorrow, and they're starting to power wash. I'm
Okay.
waiting for them to power wash first, and the goal is to have it done before the weather turns bad, to have it, complete.
I forgot to-
You know, the building is all a whole different lot of colors, so it'll
All
all
will be one.
be one color.
And call-
Did we
and all that
decide
other
on the color?
It matches the addition.
It matches the new,
Okay, so then everything will be the same.
yes.
Yeah.
You'll take care of any, if it's affecting the residents coming into the building or
Just
just
forgot
parking,
something.
put
I guess I
it
should've
on the
wrote it
website
down.
or anything like that. I don't even know if it's law.
Yeah, just a report from the engineers, Cali Court. The last discussion on Cali Court was that the pump station was not at a level that we want to take ownership of it. So we're going to give the owners of Cali Court that cost for us to get it where we want it to be. If they agree to pay us that divided by the 9,
That's an assessment.
it's an asset, they would just pay us, fix the pump station to what it needs to be, and then we take it over, and then they just pay.
That's a
The-
legitimate sewer.
It's a legitimate, and then they don't have to deal with it anymore, because right now, they're obligated to maintain it and do that. Is there anything else we forgot? And one more thing will come around when it doesn't. Don, engineer, it'll come to me.
See, Mark likes to.
Mark's already. We were doing good, we got a little long.
From his rock band there.
Thanks. Give everybody a copy of the engineering report.
Yes.
A few highlights. We did get the applications in for the road program and for the bike path. Construction costs and inspection were around $970,000 for the roads and almost $200,000 for the bike paths. Those are heavy, so we can try and get as much money as possible. So when they come back with what we actually get, we can decide what part of the road we want to, because we will not get that full amount. We're working on some cost proposals for some right-of-way research regarding pump stations, F and A. Harry wants us to try and figure out where those property lines are.
That's
A few other things.
Forest and Third.
Third and Detmer, and Forest where it ends at Triton High School. We're also working on the easement plan for the Sherrington property. We are 99.9% done, and that will be sent to Mike Albano hopefully tomorrow, who is the conflict solicitor. We already talked about the open space grant for the girls softball. I believe Craig and Harry are going to be administering that project, so we won't be involved with that anymore moving forward. We just helped you get the $25,000.
Oh, no, you're gonna, no.
The sanitary and storm sewer as-built, we started the field survey this past work, so we're moving forward with that over the winter time. The Black Forest Pike traffic study, the traffic counts were done. Shropshire is working on the actual report now. I believe they were trying to reach out to the state or the county to find out the current signal timing, and that will make recommendations regarding the left turns and things like that. The Reed and Chisler project contracts were executed with the pre-construction meeting. Notice to proceed was for October 9th. We're still waiting on a construction schedule. Lambert still plans on being done by December 10th. And as you talked about earlier, the traffic striping was completed on Davis Road and 9th Avenue, which was the ad alternate for this project. As everybody said, it came out nice and that worked out really well. Elm and Broadway, we just have to close out with DOT. The 88 hallway and elevator project, we are pre-quoting the fire rated door. Our architects are working on that. So we're under a TCO. However, that didn't affect the big ribbon cutting yesterday. And it was a very good program we had yesterday. South Oakland, Washington, punch list work was done by Lambert. I have to do the closeout now with DOT, so you can get the final 25% reimbursement on that. Under general sewer engineering, we already talked about the North Reed Avenue emergency storm sewer repairs going on. Back in August, we submitted a memorandum to Jim outlining the sewer connection fees. You could amend your ordinance to be $2,485 per equivalent domestic unit.
Okay.
So if you had a business that had large sewer flow, that would be based on the
Based on
actual
the-
EDU.
I think we need to get that done next month or something. I don't think, we don't have to push it on for November, but December,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
It's an ordinance reading, so it takes two
All right,
readings
so we'll,
and has to be advertised.
okay,
So if you want to do it this year,
first reading for November. Joyce, are you okay with that?
I'm okay as long as somebody gives me.
I have the information.
So we'll
But
do
we
the,
also have to talk about the other.
that's what I'm saying, we'll do both at the same time, but we got the 2485 out of our
it's
hair.
documented now.
And then we're gonna, then we're using that number to change, and then Jim's, we're gonna find out about that sewer / stormwater. Right now, we're at 164, 164.
Maybe going up $5?
We're thinking $1 a month or $2 a month, depending if we do stormwater, so.
Oh, that's right, stormwater.
So, by the end of the year, by November, we need to have that last number. You okay with that? Everybody understands, does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
I think we can justify it. You know, we can send pictures of the broken pipes.
You'll never.
Moving forward, the parking lot site plan, we had
Not on the
the,
flush.
we had the public meeting, so Joyce just has to have,
Townhouses now, again.
What's that?
Joyce just has to have the minutes completed, that there were no public comments made during the open public
Okay,
discussion
CDBG, yeah.
for that CDBG transfer, and we have to forward those minutes to CDBG.
They want to take the resolution, they want the minutes?
We have to have minutes sent to them that there were no comments.
Because the resolution has a big spot for me to put, no comments.
Okay,
All right, try it.
they just need
Yeah.
documentation if there were no comments made
Okay.
during the public meeting. The sanitary sewer split planning, there is a meeting scheduled for Thursday, November 15th at 10 o'clock with the solicitor, our office, and the in-situ forms regarding our denial of their change order request for the use of the water truck.
That's all we're gonna talk about that one.
Okay.
And that's it. I just want to let everybody know there's a meeting scheduled for that.
What time is the meeting?
Yeah, it's in the report.
I would call it.
The Lux Bakery we already talked about. Dunkin' Donuts is getting set.
We'll call it.
What did they say about Dunkin'?
Dunkin' Donuts is getting ready to start installing their drive-through
Okay.
based on the planning board approved plans. And that,
Oh, do we have a start date?
No.
they are waiting on their sewer utility closeout, so they don't have a $3,800 fine. No. They're waiting on their markup.
Oh.
They're We had a pre-construction meeting 2 weeks ago, and they're getting ready to move forward, but now they're waiting on their meeting.
That's not too bad, it's only 6 days, right? All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
Legal.
So, a lot going on, but not a lot I could really talk about with council. There is a personnel issue that Mr. Jory and I have been working on, but I
Okay.
can't really talk about that publicly.
You don't need a closed session,
I
right?
don't need a closed session, maybe eventually, but not yet.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll have some resolution sooner rather than later. South Jersey Gas will figure that out.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll give them a call, the attorney that way to Harry, and say, hey, can you just play the new guy card?
Good.
And something we have just for our records, and we'll proceed with what's been previously.
that card for them.
It's pretty
You're
good.
almost done.
Pretty good. But with him coming back and then leaving again, I can always reset the new guy card, so it's perfect. We do have the Institute Forum meeting, hopefully we can work something out with that, but the rest is progress, lots of progress. Keep me busy, I appreciate that.
I think I remembered one other complaint that I got. Since we were talking about traffic studies and lights, does anybody get any complaints about the light in front of the Wawa on Constitution?
Oh, no.
That people can't make a left out of there?
Concerned
So, like-
citizens.
They shouldn't be making a left out of there. They
No, 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 no,
shouldn't
no.
be
At the
making a
Come at the light.
Too short?
Do you get any quick complaints
No,
about
the
that?
one, as long as I've been here, it's always been the one in front of Jerry's Jewelers on that Euston Road. It's like you can count to 5 and it turns green and red. So I'm
I got some complaints that in the morning during rush hour, people are cutting through from Barrington to Ninth Avenue, and then the left turn light is only enough for 2 or 3 cars,
So if
And then
you're coming
people
from
start
Wawa
making rights.
To go onto the point, yeah, that is short.
and you've gotten some complaints about
I
that?
haven't got complaints, it's just, yeah, if you're not.
I've gotten a couple.
3 cars, you.
And the only question I guess I had for the engineer was, when the traffic study people are looking at a light, are they looking at other lights to see, do they affect each other?
They generally do traffic counts, and that's how you establish the timing. Now, if the traffic pattern has changed since that light went in, it's going to affect the timing. If people were taking shortcuts that weren't doing it before,
Okay, that
you
changed.
got rid of a left turn like off of Smith Lane. on
We
the-
did, we got rid of the left turn,
And down in front of Oak Ridge, I saw.
and that's caused
That
some
could
of this
affect the
problem.
Traffic, and you might want to look at revising a traffic study to adjust that timing,
Do we have the right to change the length of that light on our own?
not on your own.
We have the DOT
You
has
have to
to
go through
approve
the
it.
DOT and get approval.
And the only way to do that is with a stop.
Traffic study, correct.
Another $4,000.
Okay. Okay.
I did get complaints about Clemens Bridge Road and about Evesham Road.
For
I
what?
have had residents come after
Did they
church.
back up?
Yeah, like, it's just awful, and what are we gonna do about it? And I've been
Carpool.
telling them, we
That's
have
coming up.
a study going through,
Our problem
and
is
within the
going
year,
down.
it'll be solved.
At Clemens Bridge and trying to pull out.
Yeah.
Like Rowan is at the top of the hill, so we can't see the cars coming up the hill when there's bumper to bumper traffic. So if the person just lets you out and is
Yeah.
not
Oh.
watching the other traffic,
Oh.
that Dave's father-in-law, Walker's father-in-law just got, he got in an accident, that was probably about 4 months ago, I guess,
Coming out of the road.
coming out of
Right,
Rowan
Rowan.
because
Been a lot of
I think the guy waved them on, but just was saying, come on out.
Yeah.
And not
Not
going
saying
in
it's
the-
clear, you know, and.
To inch out.
My mom got hit there years ago, but that was Christmas. It was only Christmas back then.
When it was backing up
When
to
it would
the-
back up
the
down
mall.
the Deptford.
I think Sam Raganese Jr., when he worked here for us.
You
That
did.
was an accident, right?
Yep.
You did.
Yeah, I actually, tonight, I came out and went down Highland, because you
Better
could
to
see
come
better.
out.
I live in Holly and I don't come out there. I go all the way around.
But we want to stay with Smith Lane up in the left turn, though, right? That's a more positive safety
Yeah.
issue
Oh,
there.
yeah, I've been sitting down.
But it's causing the unintended consequences of backing up
Highland's the
on
only way
Constitution.
You know, the people aren't paying attention to South Smith, and I had a couple car stops, because they're coming from Vineland, Sewell.
Cutting through?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're avoiding,
Clemens Bridge.
yeah. And I also put one of my officers out, because the crossing guard said that when it's bumper to bumper on Clemens Bridge, people are coming on oncoming traffic to turn left on the to start the cut through all the way down to Smith Lane.
Moving over.
Well, that's what they do at East Sham. in the
They
morning.
start going
They
down.
start going down
Yep.
the other lane to get into the turn.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I-
We had an accident that was real.
Yeah, right on my sister's property, one right up
Yep.
on the property.
And the bumper to bumper.
Did you ever see a curb fold like that?
What's that?
Did you see it? Were you there?
Nah, I wasn't there.
It was an SUV, went right into the curb.
I
And
saw
the
it with your
curb,
sister-in-law.
yeah, it took a chunk of the curb out like it was nothing. You know, it was crazy.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you ever see a 52-foot tractor trailer make a U-turn on the Black Horse Pike and Clemens Bridge Road? I saw that today. I could not believe it. I said,
He did a U-turn.
a U-turn,
What, in the big area?
a U-turn.
People do that in front of our station too, with the coming down Clemens, who's to turn left on Lynn.
Right in front of Luigi's, it was like
Well,
unbelievable.
let's not forget also, everybody remember that the county does intend to repave Evesham Road. So we need to be maybe, I don't know how proactive we can be in our part.
See if they could make that turning lane longer,
Maybe.
so people weren't.
I mean, are you aware of that?
They're
It's on the
real
We
county's
need to
list.
send a no U-turns.
It's on their list. It's actually, if you read their
But you probably have
plan,
to
the
do
park
the
is
parking.
there.
Yeah.
Like we're at the barber shop, continue
Yeah,
past
that's
that.
a long
That is.
bypass, 15, 16, 17 cars out there.
I never did it by accident.
What's that? What's
Was
that?
Mark here when we had to put the light over there in order to get the
Walla?
CVS?
Yeah, you were there.
Were you hear that? The light used to be, no, the light used to be at Smith Lane.
Yeah.
Moved it to that.
And the CVS said they would not come in unless we moved the light to
To
Ninth
Ninth
Avenue.
And it's better.
And they had to do that, and they would not, we wanted to leave both lights.
It's too many lights.
They would not do it.
Yeah, that was before.
Yeah.
Mark Associates might have been the engineer, but I wasn't involved with it.
I don't remember who was, I might have been even before you, but before Bob.
We were doing inspections for the CVS project. 'Cause they were
When it was
trying to get their
initially
bond.
built?
Yeah, when I went in.
Anybody have anything else?
Just one thing. We discussed months ago that we were going to try to double face on Isham and St. Teresa's, those flashing lights, get them on both sides.
Forgot about that.
And you
Well-
said we're going to talk to Mayor?
I think Dave would definitely do it. We just got to find out how much it would cost to do that. Is that something you guys could look into with the Gloucester Township Police? Could you at least make a phone call? Yeah, the idea is that when we did the flashers, they only did one direction. So the argument is if they were flashing on both sides, it would help all that back and forth going through.
That would probably be something the mayor would have to approve.
No. But it's always good when it comes from the police
All
department.
right.
You know that.
Yeah.
If Gloucester Township supports it, you guys support it. We just got to get a price to do that. Is that something that,
Is the county allowing?
county says we own it now.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Part of the agreement we had with the county was, they would put it in, but now we have to maintain it. So if any of them ever break or any of them need to be done, it's on us. So I think same with Drake's, that corner is us to maintain. So if we want to put a sign on the other side, Runnemede pays for one, Gloucester Township pays for the other, then I think we're done. We talked about that
Listen,
before.
It's
I
got to be
gotta
done.
go.
Go.
Second.
Go.
now,
Good
I'll
I will,
come
move
back.
to what I think, right? Is there anything else?
I didn't have anything
All right, well,
else.
then I'm going to open the meeting up to the public. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone who wishes to speak, please come to the microphone. State your name and address. No fighting.
I just wanted to let you know that as of 2 o'clock this afternoon, the plaque came in.
Okay.
It's done, it's very nice. I'm meeting tomorrow with the monument guy as to where we're going to set it and the height of it and whatnot. And it will be ready for November 11th at 11 o'clock. I was also able to pick up, and actually was donated by the Berks County Historical Society, an original World War I cemetery marker made out of pewter, okay? And I'm gonna have them permanently mount that in there so it can't get stolen. It's all in, it says Quebec, Berks County, but when I did a research trying to find something special, it came up and they were kind enough to say, look, you know, just pay for the shipping and we'll send it there. So we have that, so it says World War I veteran on it. It's in pewter.
So we need to promote that on our sign, on our
I already
website.
sent,
and our
I already
Facebook.
sent all the dignitaries all the information.
That was my main question.
Yes,
Make sure
that went out last week.
I know it's November 11th, it's gonna be crowded because it is. I know.
There should be some police presence, right?
The battleship, see, the battleship is gonna have every resident.
We're going to have at the cannon, we're going to have a little dedication on the 11th.
It's a plaque to World War I veterans.
And that's a Sunday this year, right?
Yeah.
Sunday at 11 o'clock.
So, you know, if there was a couple officers who stopped by, that's always nice. I'll tell the chief he's gotta come, there'll be,
And Bob's taking care of it, we're gonna keep one player there, so.
Okay,
we'll have that.
yeah.
The other thing is this, Philly Diner and myself, as you know, every year we sponsor Veterans Day. I do want to invite all members of mayor and council and the dignitaries, you guys are welcome. It's at noon time on November the 12th, which is a Monday, upstairs at the Philly Diner. And it's a Veterans Day, so you're
That's
welcome
nice.
to come for lunch.
What time on the 11th?
11 o'clock.
11 and 11.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why it was done, but interestingly enough, I'll tell you a little bit about that, and that is that when Hitler accepted the surrender of France afterwards, and prior to the Second World War really breaking out, that he used the same chair and the same carriage.
The train,
The same train, the carriage train that was there, and he insisted on sitting in the same seats that the French guys sat in when they signed the Germans over.
I saw the video. Yeah, he didn't say a word. He
Yeah,
just
it is.
stuck it to him.
That's it. So, but like I say, I just want to invite everybody over. It's something, you know, you guys know about it.
It's always-
November 12th, it's at noon time. You're welcome. Please come on up to the buffet.
Okay,
And that's it.
good.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
The other, one other thing. We'd like to get started on that wall outside for Veterans Wall.
Yeah, help start putting things together. Now that we've opened,
Yeah, Sam and I are discussing, he's got a lot of things for VFW. What I'd like to get, if I can, is get some type of a sign saying Veterans Wall or Veterans
donate.
Honor Wall or something like that, because we want to put, you know, your sign.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll get it donated for you.
Okay.
Lay it out.
And then what we want to do is put an honor board up for everybody to donate.
Yeah, let's lay it out and then we'll do
But there's
it.
you know, we have a showcase, we have a showcase of some stuff that's going to be a showcase.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We need to start filling the walls up. That
It's
was
in
one
that
thing we
little-
didn't have in the hallway was.
It's in that little alcove that's in there, and
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a nice thing to have as you walk. I don't know who's walking through there yet, but,
It's starting to get it. Joyce will say it's been nicer to be able to direct people back and forth between the different departments.
that was the only thing I could say. I just got it today, so it's in, it'll be there November 11th, it'll probably be up next week sometime, setting it.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. Anyone else? Is there a motion to close the public portion? Motion by Mr. Root. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Farrell. All in favor? Okay, motion to close then.
Motion to close.
Motion by Mr. Root, second by Mr. Farrell. All in favor? We are closed. 7:37. Motion by Root, second by Farrell.